Hi everyone, this is Heba from My Little Journal, and today I'm really excited to be sharing my process video for documenting a vacation album. Now, my son went to France this past summer, and I wanted to document his trip. So I wanted to share with you how I start my process when I'm documenting a certain occasion, a vacation, whatever the case is. I always start by being prepared and making my process easier. So I'm going to start first with my little bucket of products. I go through my stamp sets. I take out whatever stamps that are travel themed that would work well with my project. So I just grabbed a bunch of Feed Your Craft, Kelly Perky, Studio Calico stamps. I also went through my Color Cast Design acrylics and grabbed anything that I thought would work well in my project or my album. So there's a lot of like exploring, eating, things like that. I also have the days of the week. I don't know if I'm going to use these, but I really would like to. I like to kind of document day by day. It's going to be difficult with his pictures because his pictures are kind of all over the place. But if I can figure it out, I probably will end up using the days of the week from Colorcast Design. I also have little ephemera that he kept, receipts, his little luggage tag. I think these were passes for certain spots they went to, the museum, things like that. So I have a couple of those. I'm actually really excited that he kept these. I did not expect him to remember to keep things, but he did. So those are definitely going into my album. Don't know how, but I'll figure it out. I'm going to put this aside because I want to share with you how I start my album. Now, my album, when I start by printing out day by day and working through my album. I'm going to pull these out because I do kind of add them in order how I want them to sit in my album. That makes the process so much easier. Okay, so before I start working in my album, I like to print out my photos. I like to set them in the pockets and try to figure out where everything's going to go. That way, when I work in my album, the process is so much easier and everything comes together faster. I also do go through all my project life cards and choose the cards that I think would go well with a vacation album. That way, when I'm working in my album, I don't have to go through all my cards. I just go through a smaller amount of cards. I want to start my album using this vellum piece. I haven't decided, maybe I'm going to stamp France 2019 or I'll probably add an acrylic piece. I haven't decided yet, but I really wanted to start it with this vellum piece. It'll be backed up with this photo of the Eiffel Tower and all the kids. Now, I asked my son to type out his journaling. I will print that out and add day one. So the journaling is going to back up this photo. I did want him to use his own journaling because it was his experience. Then I just add all my photos in the pockets. We're in day one. Right here, day two is going to start right now. And this is going to be backed up with his journaling as well for day two. I'll end up adding cards in these empty pockets. Now here I have a large photo. I will back it up with another large photo, and those I think I might just end up punching holes here and adding them in the album. We're still in day two. I believe we're still in day two. Are we day two? That was day one, day two. No, we're in day three now. And then I have these larger photos that I'm going to back up with each other. This one's a larger, I think this one's a 6x8, if I'm not mistaken. And I wanted to back up my 6x8 here with a 4x8. Now, the 4x8 obviously is not going to cover the whole sheet. So what I decided to do was probably use another 4x8. I just grabbed a few that I thought I might use. So maybe I could kind of trim this out, back it up over his photo kind of. Add some details of his travels. I'm not sure yet. This one would even look pretty good as well. Maybe somewhere like that. And just add a little title, if that makes sense. I don't know. Something like that. I haven't decided, but I have options. to kind of figure out what I want to do. Anyways, I thought it would be fun to share with you my process video for these 3 days and how these layouts will come together pretty fast, because I have my bucket of stamps and embellishments, and I can always go through my own embellishments. And also my cards are all picked out, so I can just go through them really quickly and find the cards that I want to use. So if you're interested in watching how my little vacation album comes together, just keep watching, and hopefully I'll share like different parts of this vacation album. I'm not going to be able to finish the whole thing all in one video, but hopefully I'll get to finish from day 1 to day 3 in this one, and probably share the rest in a different video. Okay, guys, so this video is long overdue, and I taped this a long time ago, never shared it, so it's about time. Anyways, we're going to start with my intro page. I wanted to use, I believe those are Kelly Perky alpha stamps that I'm going to use to stamp France, and then I'll also be stamping the date or the year. I want to add a little texture to my intro page, so I'm going to end up going through my ColorCast Design acrylic pieces and end up adding adventure, I believe, and a geotag, just to add color and texture to my intro page. I always recommend this to kind of keep your intro pages as simple as possible, because if you're using like a vellum piece or an acetate, you want the photo in the background to kind of pop and actually be the focus of your intro page. But at the same time, you do want to add like a title and things like that. So definitely keep it simple. And of course, it makes the process go by really quickly. Now, by the way, after I did my first few pages in this album, I purchased Pink Fresh Studios like travel themed embellishments. Forgot what it's called, but it's so beautiful. And I end up going back into my layouts and adding a few of the stickers and the chipboards on my spreads, because obviously this is a travel themed album and those were travel themed embellishments. So I went back in and added them. And hopefully very soon, when I share with you part 2 of my process, I will be using a lot of those embellishments as well, because I did purchase them to use them in my son's travel album. Anyways, I am done with my intro page, and now I'm going to be working on this photo of all the kids that went to France. And I love using a geotag to kind of pinpoint where my son is standing, just to make it easier for anybody who's looking through the album. Just added the geotag and called my first 2 spreads done. I'm flipping this over. Now the backside of that photo, the Eiffel Tower, that's where my son's journaling is going to end up being. So I'm just going to move on to this next page, where I'm just documenting the day they left. I took a photo of his luggage, a photo of him and his friends, the airport. So I really wanted to use those acetates from ColorCast Design with the days of the week. I think it's going to really help me just kind of, and help him to remember like which day is what day kind of thing. So I went ahead and added that to my luggage photo. I went through my cards, and now I'm just trying to figure out which cards I'm going to end up using. I want to trim down this 3x4 photo to fit on my card. It had a little heart right above it, and I think it said travel or something like that. So I'm going to end up using that. I will trim around the circle just so I can slide my photo underneath it and add a little, texture and a fun little element to my card and photo. I'm also going to grab one of my Studio Calico travel themed stamp set, and I'm going to stamp Adventure Seekers right above my little circle, or I think that's a speech bubble, but I'm going to end up stamping that right above there. And then I'm going to decide on what I'm going to add in that pocket. I have a few cards here, and I'm really loving the black one that says enjoy the journey. I think it matches well with my black and white photo and like my acetate, not my acetate, my acrylic piece, sorry, with the Tuesday. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to end up just adding a little white chipboard heart. And then I want to work on my 4x6 photo of my son's luggage. Now, when I was going through my embellishments, I found these really pretty pink chipboards that I thought would look neat to add above my Tuesday. I'll also grab that stamp set again from Studio Calico. There was this little tag stamp with an airplane, so I thought it worked perfectly to stamp right above my journaling. I love adding journaling, especially in travel albums, on my photos because it clears up a lot of space and I'm able to use like filler cards more than journaling cards. And it just makes the process go by faster if your journaling is on your photos and ready to go. Anyways, let's move on to my next spread. And as you can see, my spreads are coming together pretty quickly because I have all the products I need on hand. I'm going to be documenting these two photos and I just need a filler card. I love that begin card, by the way. And I think that's the one I end up using. Yeah, it is. And now I want to find a card to back up the screenshot of my son's location. We share as a family our locations, and I always take screenshots of the kids when they're traveling of their location because I love to add them in my travel albums. I'm going to trim around that Let's Go Exploring because I want to slide my 3x4 photo behind it. And actually, I think when I was cutting this out, I actually tore it, as you can see here, which is not a big deal. I'm going to still be able to slide my photo underneath it. I'll tape it down and I'm good to go. This is why I always recommend to use your cards to back up photos. It's a great way to use those cards, and your cards are the perfect way to add color and a great little, add-on to add embellishments and stuff like that to your photos. Just by trimming around the card and sliding my photo behind it, it kind of added a little something to my small spread here. Now I'm just adding a little embellishment to my card, which, by the way, I end up changing in a little bit and you'll get to see that. I'm just going to end up using a little puffy sticker that says here on my 4x6 photo. And by the way, I change up a lot of the stuff with my new embellishments, and I will share those in the photos at the end of this video. But this is where I decide I don't like the green sentiment. It just didn't match really well. So I end up just grabbing my Tim Holtz word stickers and adding a different one in white. And what I mean about, how I added that here on my 4x6 photo, I end up changing that and using my new embellishments and adding a red one, I think that says here and there. But you'll get to see those in the photos at the end of the video. Moving on to this picture at the cemetery. The kids got to play there and it was just beautiful. It was amazing that a lot of the parents shared their pictures and the teachers with us. So I got to, use a lot of those pictures. But anyways, I ended up using another color cast design, one of the large hearts in that rose gold, and added a word sticker and called it done. Now I'm going to move on to these two photos of my son. I have a picture of him with his back towards the camera and one him facing the camera. So what I thought I would do was stamp a Feed Your Craft stamp that said here and now. So I end up stamping them like across my two photos. That way it makes the two photos relatable, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to keep this simple. I've said this before, try to keep your spreads when you're working in an album like this as simple as possible. It really, really helps. And just by stamping a few words here and there and adding a few embellishments, like large embellishments, like these acrylic pieces from Colorcast Design, it really, really makes everything pop. And you're still documenting those moments, but you're not taking forever to finish a small album. Anyways, I'm going to end up using this little puffy sticker right above Wednesday. And by the way, I do not stick down my acrylic pieces because I usually stick them down outside the pocket so they don't add a lot of bulk inside my pockets, if that makes sense. Now I'm moving on to my next spread where I'm going through my cards. I know I want to use this 3x4 card. So what I decide to do is trim down this photo to fit into the box. And again, these beautiful photos that all the parents shared with me. My son sent me loads of pictures. I'm just so grateful that I was able to get all these photos and be able to document his journey. I'm going to end up adding a little puffy heart right above never forget this. And I'll also go through my little word stickers and add a beautiful little sentiment right underneath this picture or right on this picture. And again, calling it done, simple, easy, quick. So I have these two 6x8 photos. I'm going to go ahead and back them up together. And then I'm going to punch my holes. I want to punch the holes through my photos because I want to add them like without a pocket. Once I do that, I'm going to go through my wood veneers, find the right wood veneer for this photo. I have some large wood veneers. I usually get those from Tuesday Morning and scrapbook.com. You can find some really pretty ones, large ones as well. And Color Cast Design has beautiful wood veneers. But anyways, I end up using the Love, Love, Love. I'm going to add it to the corner, and then I'm going to flip this over and find an acrylic piece from Color Cast Design that says Journey, and I'm going to end up adding that right above everybody in this photo. I love using larger embellishments in mini albums just because they add a lot of texture, and it's a lot of fun. It adds a little something to your photo. Now I want to start working on my next spread, and I believe we're in Thursday at this point, so I'm going to go through my acrylic pieces, find Thursday, and Thursday turned out to be yellow, so I'm going to go through my cards and find cards that match my acrylic piece. That's honestly how I'm building my spreads off of these acrylic pieces. I just want them to match nicely, so I end up, deciding first I thought I was going to add it to my photo here, but I do end up changing my mind and adding it to my 3x4 card. And you can kind of see me here trying it out. And I actually like how that looks. So I'm going to go with it. And I will end up adding the date as well. But at this point, I'm going to try to find a card that I can back up this 3x4 photo of my son. Like I said earlier, the parents were all on this Facebook group. Some of them went to France, some did not, like I didn't, but they were so awesome to share all the photos of the kids that they took. So I was lucky enough to, be able to have a few of my son marching, because obviously he wouldn't be able to, take a picture of himself marching. So, but anyway, that photo wasn't the greatest, so I wanted to back it up and be able to trim it down a little bit and just kind of focus on him. I also went ahead and added a little chipboard as well. And what I thought was that circle with the heart, the card, would be a good card to trim out. So I went ahead and grabbed my dies, my circle dies, and cut that out. And I'm going to end up adding it to my 4x6 photo. I'm just trying to kind of figure out where I want to add it. Once I decide, I stick it down and call it done. I'm just going to finish up this spread by adding the date to my 3x4 card. I actually end up using, I think it's Ellie Studios date stamp. Love this date stamp. If you're not really good with roller date stamps, I'm not personally. This is the perfect stamp set for you. You can, just stamp out the date and you will always have it stamped out perfectly. I'm really bad at roller date stamps, so this is really good for me. So I'm still documenting Thursday. I have a few more photos. So I just flipped over my little pocket here. Now I'm going to go through my cards and decide on which cards I want to use. I don't know if I really like how this spread turned out, but I'm going for it. I'm going with it. I'm just gonna, keep pushing on. Sometimes that happens to me. Some of my layouts I really, really enjoy and some I don't, but it's okay. Anyway, I'm going to trim down this photo, and this is a picture of the kids marching, and you can kind of see my son. So what I decided to do is, because I can't really see him that much, I decided to go through my wood veneers, find a little arrow, and just stick that arrow kind of pointing towards him. That way you can kind of see him better, just because he's like on the second or third row. Once I do that, I'm going to grab a little word sticker and add that to the bottom. Then I'm going to work on this 3x4 card. I decide to go with the Best Day Ever card. It's a really pretty blue and it has the red, which matches really well with my photo on the bottom. What I decided to do was use these little stars from Studio Calco. I've had them in my stash for a while, so I went ahead and started sticking them down. I'll even trim some of them off, or trim them like in half. That's what I meant to say. And I've done this before. It does not ruin your wood veneer. And if you use the right pair of scissors, you're good to go. But I decided to do that just to be able to add them to the edges of my card and, you know, use them more than once. If I just used it as a whole, I wouldn't be able to use like the other half, if that makes sense. So I'm almost done. I have a few more pages to work on. I have these two large photos. I think one is 6x8. The other one is probably a 12x8. So I'm going to back up my 12x8 with my 6x8 photo. And I will punch my holes as well because I'm not going to put these in pockets. I'm just going to add them straight to my album. And I will back up the other side of my 12x8 photo with a little layout, let's say. It's not really a layout, but you'll see in a sec. I just want to document another 4x8 photo of my son. So what I decide to do is back it up to this photo and use one of my 4x8 papers to fill in that space. So I'm really liking this yellow one. There's a lot of space to journal and you can add the date. And I think it said like where and when, something like that. So I thought it was perfect for this little travel album. So because it's a 4x8 paper, I'm gonna have to trim off a lot of my photo, and that's okay because most of this photo is just background and I really just wanted to focus on my son, so it worked out perfect. I also trimmed off the sides of my 4x8 paper and just kept the yellow from the top and bottom, and that way just kind of fit in perfectly, I guess. I added my journaling to it, and now I want to go ahead and add a large word sticker to my photo. I love using my word stickers on my larger photos. And I will also add a geotag just to pinpoint where my son is standing. Then I believe I'm done. Layouts came together pretty quickly, I guess because I had everything ready for me before I started my album. But that's about it, you guys. I hope to share part 2 very soon, I promise. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.